He was lying on a varnished wooden board, the top of a boxed-in radiator. The board was exactly as wide as his shoulders, and he knew, from painful experience, he must sit up like a man emerging from his own coffin. Roll over, and he would be on the floor. Above the radiator, a tall window was covered with thin curtains, a pattern of stripes, green, brown, and red. He lifted a corner of the cloth and looked out. Deep space, the heart of night, a single small light left burning through fog above the door of the industrial therapy department. The time? He sifted it from the air, from the many small clues it gave, presences, absences. He had owned, when he first arrived, a watch with a brown leather strap, one of his better things. He had managed to keep hold of it for 2 weeks before it was stolen. He knew who had taken it. A man who choked to death in the refectory 6 months later, inhaling a mouthful of mashed potato. The watch must have been given to the dead man's family, along with a dozen other effects from his locker. It might have puzzled them, the nice watch they didn't know he'd had. He let the curtain drop. He wondered what had woken him. There was no shouting, no sound of running feet, no alarm. The place was hushed. The room he was in, a common room, a big room with a high ceiling, was deserted. But somewhere something had changed. Something had fallen or risen. He swung himself to sit on the board, legs dangling. He patted his hair, he still had some, and looked down the length of the room. The stiff little tables with their stiff little chairs, the foil ashtrays. On one wall, screwed to the wall and out of reach, was a painting of hot air balloons. On the opposite wall, also screwed on, also out of reach, was a photograph of the young queen in her coronation robes. Other than for his shoes, he was fully dressed. A brown, pin-striped suit with a cardigan under the jacket, the cardigan a present from his daughter, the younger one, last Christmas or the Christmas before. Red wool and warm, slightly too big or becoming so. The older girl had stopped coming years ago. He must have worried about that once. Not any more. Awake now, clear-headed in one of those lulls when the things they gave him had lost their force, he stood, steadied himself, and set off. In his socks he could move almost soundlessly. From the common room he entered the corridor. There was a wooden floor in the common room, but in the corridor there were lino tiles, geometries in bright colours. You had to be careful not to get lost on it, not to try stepping only from green square to green square, or find yourself marooned on a red triangle. The tiles were new and part of a scheme to brighten things up. The administrator had visited them. He had addressed them in the chapel after Sunday service, spoken from the black wood of the pulpit.